Chosen one, pause for a moment and recognize where you are, because this is not a random point in time. What you initiated has surpassed belief, tradition, and every story ever told about divinity. You are standing at the moment where creation stops being imagined and starts being lived. This is not about faith in something outside of you. It is about the realization that your awareness is now shaping outcomes in real time. Doors are opening faster, resistance is turning into momentum, and what once felt distant is now approaching with certainty. Before this message continues unfolding, take a second to hit the like button, subscribe to help this channel reach 60,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 11 to mark your alignment with what is being activated here. This is not a message for observers or doubters. This is for those who can feel that something irreversible has begun. You are not watching the rise of a myth. You are standing at its source, where purpose, influence, and conscious creation converge. And from this point forward, reality responds to who you are becoming. This moment is monumental because it marks the point where you stop depending on external validation and begin taking true ownership of your life. The choices, energy, and focus you bring now have a ripple effect, impacting not just your present, but the trajectory of your future. Understanding this is crucial because it shifts your mindset from passivity to action, from reacting to intentionally shaping the life you desire. Every thought, decision, and effort becomes a seed that grows into tangible results, demonstrating the power of conscious participation. I believe this is one of the most transformative experiences a person can have. It's like stepping into a higher level of personal responsibility where your influence is no longer theoretical. It is real, measurable, and profound. The moment you recognize that you are the architect of your own life, everything changes. Challenges turn into lessons, opportunities become invitations, and your confidence grows exponentially. It's not about magic or luck, it's about alignment, focus, and deliberate action. There comes a point when the endless search for guidance, advice, and validation becomes unnecessary. Instead of looking outside for direction, you begin to trust your own instincts and judgment. This trust is not arrogance. It's the confidence that arises from self-awareness and experience. Imagine a young artist who no longer waits for approval from critics, but paints because the vision within demands expression. That courage to rely on oneself is the foundation of every meaningful achievement. Self-trust also changes the way you interact with the world. You start noticing opportunities you previously overlooked because you were too busy doubting or seeking permission. Every choice becomes a reflection of your inner clarity, and the world begins to respond in ways that confirm your readiness. Challenges no longer feel like obstacles. They are mirrors that test and refine your instincts, helping you grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Finally, self-trust inspires those around you. People sense authenticity and conviction, which draws support, respect, and collaboration. When you operate from this place of internal certainty, your presence becomes magnetic and your influence becomes tangible. It's the moment you stop following others and start leading, first within yourself and then outward. Before this shift, decisions were often influenced by fear, habit, or the opinions of others. But once direction becomes self-defined, life feels intentional. You no longer drift. Instead, every action is aligned with your vision and values. Consider an entrepreneur who builds a business not because it's trending, but because it reflects their purpose and passions. That alignment transforms effort into momentum, making each step forward purposeful and energizing. A self-defined path also means accountability. When you claim responsibility for your direction, you accept both the successes and the setbacks as your own. You no longer blame circumstances or rely on external factors for motivation. Instead, every experience becomes data, guiding, refining, and shaping the trajectory of your growth. This clarity fuels courage because it reminds you that power lies not in circumstance, but in how you respond to it. Furthermore, living with self-defined direction nurtures authenticity. Decisions resonate with your inner truth rather than societal expectations. Your life starts reflecting a coherent, meaningful narrative where actions, values, and aspirations are in harmony. People notice this consistency, and it builds trust, admiration, and opportunities that align with your vision. Old frameworks, beliefs, routines, and systems inherited from others can feel safe, but they often limit potential. Breaking away from them is not reckless, it's courageous. Each step toward autonomy reinforces your sense of power and capability. Life becomes less about what has been done and more about what can be created, allowing new possibilities to flourish in unexpected ways. Finally, the departure from old structures transforms perception. You begin to see the world not as a set of limitations, but as a canvas of potential. Constraints that once seemed rigid now become stepping stones or tools for ingenuity. The courage to leave the echo of the past creates a life that is dynamic, original, and profoundly fulfilling. Pressure often triggers stress and indecision, but clarity transforms it into fuel. When you understand your goals, values, and capabilities, challenges stop being threats and start becoming catalysts for action. Athletes, for instance, often perform best under high stakes because their preparation and focus convert pressure into heightened awareness and determination. This is the same principle in personal growth. Clarity sharpens vision and energizes action. Clarity also protects against distraction. In a world full of conflicting opinions and constant noise, knowing exactly what matters to you allows for decisive, focused action. Each day becomes an opportunity to advance your priorities rather than react to external chaos. This focused energy produces results faster and more reliably than effort alone. Beyond efficiency, clarity creates emotional resilience. When the path is visible, setbacks feel temporary and navigable. You develop a deeper sense of trust in yourself and the process, which makes challenges feel manageable rather than overwhelming. The combination of clear vision and motivated action makes transformation inevitable. Life feels different once you stop observing and start participating actively. Observers witness change from the sidelines, often frustrated by their lack of influence. Participants, however, engage directly, shaping outcomes through conscious choices. Imagine a volunteer who joins a community project. By taking initiative rather than watching, they create tangible impact, inspire others, and gain a sense of fulfillment unmatched by passive involvement. Participation also fosters skill and mastery. The more you act intentionally, the more experience and expertise you acquire. Action accelerates learning and deepens understanding in ways passive observation cannot. Each deliberate step is an investment in capability, confidence, and credibility. Emotionally, participation brings joy, satisfaction, and ownership. You feel connected to the results, to the people around you, and to your own journey. By moving from passive observer to active participant, you take control of your influence and begin shaping life on your terms rather than letting it unfold by default. When intention becomes deliberate, it begins to shape outcomes more than random effort ever could. It's the difference between acting blindly and moving with purpose. A musician, for example, who practices with specific goals and awareness improves exponentially faster than someone simply repeating exercises without focus. The clarity of intention amplifies energy, creating momentum that seems almost magnetic. Intentional action also attracts alignment. When your goals, thoughts, and behaviors harmonize, opportunities appear organically. People, situations, and resources respond in ways that confirm your vision. It's not coincidence. It's the natural consequence of focused energy meeting consistent action. Emotionally, this gives a deep sense of fulfillment. You feel empowered because you recognize the connection between thought and result. Each deliberate choice reinforces your agency, building confidence and reducing anxiety about uncertainty or external approval. The real power of intention lies in its cumulative effect. Over time, small, consistent actions guided by clear intention compound into remarkable achievements. A student who dedicates daily, purposeful study to a passion subject often outpaces peers who rely solely on talent or last-minute effort. Finally, intention transforms your perception of challenges. Obstacles become meaningful tests rather than random misfortune. You see each moment as an opportunity to refine strategy, exercise patience, and strengthen resolve. Intention makes life purposeful, dynamic, and deeply rewarding. There comes a moment when structures, traditions, or rules you once relied upon feel restrictive. Systems designed to guide now feel like cages. Think of an employee who outgrows a company's rigid framework. They crave innovation and autonomy, and staying confined limits their growth. Recognizing this shift is the first step toward true independence. Outgrowing systems also requires courage. Moving beyond comfort zones invites uncertainty, criticism, and occasional failure. Yet these challenges catalyze growth. Yet embracing this tension fosters resilience, adaptability, and a sense of mastery over life rather than submission to it. Breaking free also sparks creativity. Without rigid boundaries, new ideas and approaches emerge naturally. Artists, writers, and innovators often describe this as the moment their work finally feels authentic, original, and impactful. Ultimately, outgrowing systems aligns you with personal truth. You move from imitation to innovation, from compliance to expression. Every step beyond old structures strengthens autonomy and lays the foundation for a life shaped by choice, not inheritance. Quiet confidence is subtle but transformative. Unlike bravado, it doesn't need validation or attention. It's an inner certainty that guides decisions calmly and decisively. Consider a scientist presenting groundbreaking research. They speak not to impress, but because they trust the rigor and integrity of their work. Confidence rooted in substance inspires respect and influence naturally. This type of confidence changes the way you approach challenges. Instead of reacting impulsively or hesitantly, you make choices grounded in awareness and experience. A leader with quiet confidence doesn't fear mistakes. They view them as learning tools, refining strategy and decision-making with each step. Emotionally, quiet confidence reduces anxiety. When you trust yourself, external pressures lose their power. You move through life with steadiness, clarity, and focus, which attracts both opportunities and collaborators who value reliability and insight. It also fosters authenticity. People respond to presence more than performance. When you operate from self-assurance, your actions feel intentional, sincere, and impactful. This creates influence and inspires others without force or coercion. Finally, quiet confidence fuels resilience. In moments of uncertainty, it anchors your choices, prevents panic, and strengthens perseverance. It is a quiet but powerful engine, driving growth, achievement, and meaningful impact. True fulfillment arises when meaning is discovered through lived experience rather than external markers. Medals, titles, or recognition can motivate temporarily, but they don't sustain deep satisfaction. A volunteer helping a struggling community finds profound meaning in effort itself, not in awards or acknowledgement. Action-based meaning transforms perspective. Tasks that once seemed mundane become powerful instruments of growth and contribution. Writing a book, mentoring a friend, or tackling a challenging project becomes inherently rewarding because the impact is direct, tangible, and measurable. Emotionally, the shift brings joy and purpose. You feel connected to your actions and the outcomes they create. Life ceases to feel like a checklist and begins to feel like a journey of deliberate creation, where each contribution, no matter the scale, carries significance. Meaning from action also strengthens self-respect. When your achievements are earned through effort and intention, confidence and satisfaction deepen. This internal validation is more enduring than external recognition and less dependent on others' opinions. Finally, this perspective encourages consistency. The focus shifts from chasing symbols of success to engaging fully in every task, conversation, and endeavor. Life becomes a series of meaningful contributions that cumulatively shape identity, influence, and legacy. Once you begin seeing life as a sequence of decisions with cumulative effect, your thinking shifts from immediate results to long-term impact. You start prioritizing actions that matter in months or years, rather than seeking instant gratification. Consider investors or leaders. They succeed because they balance short-term challenges with long-term vision. Long-term thinking also encourages strategic planning. Every choice is evaluated for its ripple effect on future outcomes, relationships, and opportunities. This perspective fosters foresight, preparation, and calculated risk-taking that maximizes success potential. Emotionally, this mindset builds patience and resilience. You become comfortable with delayed rewards, understanding that meaningful growth and contribution require time, effort, and consistent focus. Short-term discomfort is reframed as necessary investment. It also enhances influence. People who consistently operate with a long-term vision are trusted advisors, mentors, and leaders. Their decisions carry weight because they are grounded in principle, strategy, and foresight, rather than impulse or external pressure. Ultimately, thinking in terms of long-term impact transforms how you experience life. Every choice becomes part of a larger narrative of growth, influence, and purpose, creating momentum that compounds over time into extraordinary outcomes. Awareness naturally increases responsibility. As you see connections, consequences, and opportunities more clearly, ignoring them is no longer possible. People trust those who embrace responsibility because they know intentions are aligned with outcomes. Your awareness-driven actions create reliability, respect, and influence that reverberates beyond your immediate environment. Finally, expanded responsibility fuels growth. The more conscious you are, the more capable you become at navigating complex situations, balancing priorities, and leaving a lasting impact. Awareness turns accountability into power, shaping both character and destiny. Real progress isn't a series of grand leaps. It's a steady accumulation of consistent effort. Consider athletes, writers, or scientists. Daily commitment, not occasional brilliance, produces mastery. This phase of growth requires patience, discipline, and repetition. Consistency also builds trust in yourself. Knowing that you can rely on your own habits, choices, and discipline strengthens confidence and reduces self-doubt. Each day's effort reinforces momentum, making challenges more manageable and achievements more likely. Emotionally, this phase cultivates resilience. You experience setbacks, but continue moving forward because momentum, effort, and routine are ingrained. Growth becomes less dependent on luck or circumstance and more on deliberate, habitual action. Consistency also amplifies skill and understanding. Over time, repeated actions refine technique, insight, and intuition. A consistent student or practitioner often surpasses naturally talented peers who lack routine and focus. Finally, consistent growth creates cumulative results. Small daily investments, practice, reflection, learning, and experimentation compound into significant achievements. This phase demonstrates that disciplined persistence is often more powerful than sporadic effort or fleeting inspiration. At a certain point, showing up fully matters more than proving yourself externally. Presence, engagement, focus, authenticity is magnetic and influential. A teacher, mentor, or leader who genuinely listens and participates leaves a deeper mark than one who relies solely on accolades or credentials. Presence also shapes perception. People respond to authenticity, commitment, and emotional investment more than external achievements. Being fully attentive, empathetic, and engaged creates trust, inspiration, and connection that no formal proof can match. Emotionally, presence fosters fulfillment. You feel connected to your environment, contributions, and relationships, experiencing life as active participation rather than passive observation. Each moment becomes meaningful, rather than a stepping stone to validation. Presence also fuels influence. A person who consistently embodies values and awareness impacts others subtly but powerfully. Actions and decisions resonate because they originate from clarity and alignment, not performance or obligation. Finally, prioritizing presence encourages mindfulness. Life becomes richer, slower, and more vivid. Success is measured not just in outcomes, but in depth of engagement, quality of connection, and authenticity of impact. Creating work, relationships, or systems that reflect your principles brings unmatched satisfaction. When your actions align with personal ethics, vision, and priorities, every effort carries purpose. An entrepreneur who builds a company around sustainability and fairness experiences deeper fulfillment than one focused purely on profit. Value-driven creation also inspires others. People are drawn to authenticity and consistency. They see commitment to principle and are naturally motivated to engage, collaborate, or support. Influence emerges organically from integrity. Emotionally, this alignment produces confidence and peace. Decisions feel right because they are grounded in conviction. Internal conflict diminishes, replaced by clarity and certainty about direction, purpose, and contribution. Creating with values in mind also improves quality. Work produced with care, intention, and ethical grounding tends to be superior, durable, and meaningful. This is true in business, art, relationships, and personal projects. Finally, value-based creation builds legacy. Every contribution, decision, and relationship shaped by principle leaves a lasting imprint, ensuring that your impact endures beyond immediate results or recognition. Influence begins when decisions are deliberate, aligned, and impactful. You no longer wait for circumstances to dictate outcomes. You act intentionally, shaping your environment, relationships, and opportunities. Leaders, innovators, and visionaries operate in this space. They understand that choice is power. Choice-driven influence also empowers others. Your clarity, consistency, and intentionality inspire those around you to act, contribute, and align with purpose. Influence multiplies when rooted in integrity and awareness, rather than force or manipulation. Think of a young entrepreneur who leaves a stable job to pursue a bold idea, initially uncertain, but eventually creating something uniquely impactful. Emotionally, this choice feels both terrifying and liberating. There's a tension between safety and potential, but courage grows as you witness your own resilience and capacity. Each step taken for yourself reinforces trust in your abilities and judgment. Choosing yourself also changes how others perceive you. People sense conviction and authenticity, which attracts support, collaboration, and opportunities. Your presence alone begins to inspire because it embodies courage and self-respect. On a practical level, this choice redefines priorities. Time, energy, and attention are invested where they matter most, and distractions are filtered naturally. Productivity and fulfillment grow in parallel because your actions reflect intention rather than obligation. Finally, choosing yourself creates a foundation for long-term impact. Each decision made from clarity, authenticity, and self-respect compounds into influence, creativity, and leadership that resonates far beyond immediate circumstances. Obstacles are inevitable, but when approached consciously, they transform into catalysts for growth. A student facing repeated setbacks in learning a skill may initially feel frustration, but persistence converts failure into understanding and mastery. Challenges also reveal character. In moments of difficulty, you discover patience, resilience, and creativity that remain hidden during comfort. The pressure acts as a lens, magnifying both weaknesses and strengths. Emotionally, using challenges as catalysts creates a sense of empowerment. Instead of feeling victimized by circumstances, you recognize your role in responding, learning, and evolving. Frustration becomes fuel, and setbacks become lessons rather than dead ends. Challenges also sharpen focus. With obstacles, priorities become clearer, unnecessary distractions fade, and every effort carries more weight. This clarity accelerates growth and ensures that progress is deliberate, intentional, and impactful. Ultimately, turning challenges into catalysts ensures that your journey is defined by learning and transformation rather than mere survival. Each hurdle becomes a stepping stone, propelling you forward with insight, strength, and confidence. Fear often governs inaction, but vision becomes the compass that overcomes hesitation. Entrepreneurs, artists, and innovators consistently report moments when a clear vision allowed them to act boldly despite uncertainty. The ability to see the potential outcome before it materializes empowers courage. Emotionally, this shift feels like liberation. Fear no longer paralyzes because the mind is anchored to possibility and purpose rather than danger or doubt. Each brave step builds momentum, reinforcing that progress is attainable even under pressure. Vision also provides resilience. When setbacks occur, the broader picture keeps focus steady, preventing discouragement. Mistakes are reframed as part of the path rather than proof of inadequacy. This dynamic strengthens influence as well. People are inspired by clarity, conviction, and a sense of direction. Leaders who act despite fear create ripple effects that motivate others to take bold steps. Finally, vision over fear creates a culture of possibility. It transforms mundane routines into experiments, challenges into opportunities, and uncertainty into growth, allowing you to achieve milestones others might consider unattainable. Consistency may appear ordinary, yet it is the backbone of extraordinary achievement. Consider an athlete who trains daily, not because results are immediate, but because each effort compounds over time, producing mastery, endurance, and confidence. Emotionally, consistent effort builds self-trust. You witness the tangible results of dedication, which strengthens belief in yourself and your path. Momentum becomes visible in progress, reinforcing purpose and motivation. Consistency also nurtures discipline and resilience. Habits formed through deliberate repetition withstand challenges, stress, and distraction, providing a reliable foundation for growth and success. Moreover, consistency amplifies influence. People notice reliability, commitment, and skill. Over time, repeated small actions build credibility and respect that sporadic brilliance cannot achieve. Finally, the cumulative effect of consistency is transformative. What begins as small daily choices eventually becomes expertise, leadership, and a legacy that endures, proving that slow, deliberate effort surpasses quick, unpredictable gains. Reacting is automatic, choosing is deliberate. Life's events will always present challenges, but moving from impulsive responses to conscious decisions transforms outcomes. You become a co-creator of your experiences, shaping results rather than being shaped by circumstances, and increasing both influence and fulfillment. Growth begins when curiosity outweighs comfort. Instead of clinging to familiar routines, you begin exploring unknown territories, asking questions, and experimenting. Scientists, innovators, and adventurers share this pattern. They achieve breakthroughs when curiosity drives action rather than fear of the unknown. Emotionally, this shift sparks excitement, engagement, and courage. Each new discovery fuels learning, adaptability, and a sense of purpose, making life feel vivid and meaningful. Curiosity also strengthens problem-solving. When challenges arise, a curious mindset reframes obstacles as puzzles rather than threats, promoting creativity, persistence, and innovative solutions. On a social level, curiosity builds connection. People are drawn to inquisitive, engaged individuals, creating networks that are rich with learning and opportunity. Exploration attracts collaboration, mentorship, and shared insight. Finally, curiosity over comfort ensures continuous evolution. Growth becomes a habit rather than a goal, and every experience, success, or setback is an opportunity to expand knowledge, skill, and perspective. Much of meaningful growth happens quietly, unseen by others. A writer may spend years honing craft in solitude. A coder may refine systems through trial and error, or a leader may develop patience and insight through small, private experiences. Emotionally, trusting invisible progress requires faith. It is tempting to seek external validation, yet true transformation often begins internally, with habits, mindset, and skill building that accumulate silently. This hidden work cultivates strength, resilience, and mastery. When challenges appear public, preparation gained privately allows confident and capable response. The unseen effort becomes a foundation for visible excellence. Invisible progress also builds humility. Real growth does not rely on praise, but on personal commitment and accountability. Each step strengthens character, skill, and insight independently of recognition. Finally, acknowledging invisible progress fosters patience. Big results take time, and consistent unseen effort compounds into mastery, innovation, and influence that eventually become undeniable and lasting. Taking full responsibility for your life and choices is not limiting, it is freeing. When you accept that your actions, decisions, and mindset shape outcomes, you regain control and agency. A leader who owns both successes and failures commands respect and builds trust. Emotionally, responsibility empowers confidence. You stop blaming circumstances, others, or luck, and recognize that transformation lies within your reach. This shift reduces frustration and increases clarity of purpose. Responsibility also accelerates learning. Each consequence, positive or negative, becomes data for refinement, insight, and skill development. You evolve faster because accountability is applied consistently. On a social level, responsibility fosters influence. People rely on those who act with integrity, foresight, and ownership, and your presence inspires others to follow, contribute, and perform. Ultimately, embracing responsibility transforms perceived limitations into freedom. It is not a burden, but a tool that allows you to navigate life with agency, creativity, and lasting impact. Persistence is the bridge between potential and accomplishment. A student studying a challenging subject daily, a musician practicing scales endlessly, or an athlete repeating drills tirelessly eventually converts effort into mastery and results. Emotionally, persistence fosters confidence and patience. You witness how commitment, even in the face of obstacles, produces tangible results over time, reinforcing belief in your ability to achieve. Persistence also builds resilience. Setbacks are no longer final. They are temporary challenges to be worked through. Each continuation strengthens determination and problem-solving skills. Socially, persistence inspires others. Consistent effort demonstrates discipline and dedication, creating influence, credibility, and admiration. People are drawn to those who persevere despite adversity. Finally, persistent action compounds into extraordinary results. What may seem small daily accumulations eventually create expertise, impact, and legacy far beyond what occasional effort could produce. Uncertainty is uncomfortable, but growth often requires stepping into the unknown. Innovators, explorers, and creators consistently operate in ambiguity, learning to trust themselves when outcomes are not guaranteed. Emotionally, embracing uncertainty cultivates courage, adaptability, and resilience. Anxiety diminishes as you recognize that preparation, skill, and intentional action outweigh fear of unknown results. By understanding human behavior and motivations, you anticipate challenges, build consensus, and generate solutions that are both practical and impactful. Socially, it strengthens influence and connection. People gravitate toward those who are emotionally attuned, reliable, and considerate, creating networks of trust, collaboration, and mutual support. Finally, emotional intelligence drives personal growth. Awareness of internal states, triggers, and responses enhances self-mastery, decision-making, and leadership capability, leaving a legacy of both competence and compassion. Viewing learning as a constant practice, rather than a phase, transforms personal and professional growth. Those who embrace continuous learning accumulate knowledge, skill, and insight that compound over time, enabling mastery and innovation. Think of lifelong learners like inventors, leaders, or artists who consistently refine and expand their abilities. Emotionally, a learning mindset fosters curiosity, humility, and resilience. Every setback becomes an opportunity to understand, adapt, and improve, reducing fear of failure and increasing confidence in potential. Learning as a lifestyle also enhances creativity. Exposure to new ideas, disciplines, and perspectives fuels originality, problem-solving, and innovation, allowing you to approach challenges with a broader, more effective toolkit. Socially, continuous learners become valuable collaborators and mentors. Their expertise, adaptability, and insight inspire others, creating networks of influence, support, and collective progress. Finally, integrating learning into daily life ensures long-term relevance, impact, and fulfillment. Knowledge and skill evolve with you, creating opportunities, solutions, and achievements that remain meaningful over time. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is courage expressed through authenticity. Sharing uncertainties, asking for help, and embracing imperfections fosters connection, trust, and resilience. Leaders and innovators who show vulnerability inspire engagement and loyalty. Emotionally, vulnerability cultivates empathy and courage. Accepting and expressing your authentic self builds self-respect and strengthens interpersonal bonds, reducing isolation and fostering community. Vulnerability enhances growth. Admitting limitations opens doors for learning, feedback, and collaboration, accelerating personal and professional development. Socially, vulnerability strengthens relationships. Colleagues, friends, and teams respond to honesty and authenticity with trust, loyalty, and willingness to engage meaningfully. Finally, embracing vulnerability transforms influence. It signals integrity, authenticity, and courage, making your presence powerful and your impact lasting in ways force or authority cannot replicate. Conclusion: you have reached a place where awareness and action converge. Every choice, every challenge, and every moment of courage has brought you here, not by accident, but by deliberate participation in your own journey. The path you've walked is a testament to persistence, alignment, and self-trust. Growth is no longer abstract. It is tangible, experienced in every decision and every step you take forward. Remember, influence and impact are built quietly, often before anyone notices. The work you do now, the values you live by, the intentions you set, the presence you bring, shapes outcomes far beyond your immediate vision. This journey is ongoing. There will always be challenges, uncertainty, and moments of doubt, but they are not roadblocks. They are mirrors and catalysts, reflecting your strength and resilience while pushing you toward higher levels of growth. Ultimately, the legacy you are creating is a combination of courage, intentionality, and authenticity. It is defined not by recognition, but by the consistent, meaningful contributions you make each day, silently yet powerfully shaping the future. As you move forward, honor the power within you. Trust your instincts, act with purpose, and embrace every challenge as an opportunity to refine your character and expand your influence. Stay present. Each moment you fully engage in has more significance than it might appear, shaping not only your path, but the lives of those around you. Carry forward the understanding that you are not merely reacting to life, you are creating it. Every choice, effort, and reflection adds depth, meaning, and direction to your journey. Know that the steps you take today matter. The momentum, habits, and alignment you cultivate now will ripple into the future, far beyond what you can currently see or imagine. Step forward with confidence, presence, and awareness.